Grab yourself a coffee, get comfortable. We're about to get started. Grab yourself a coffee. I'm excited to have this conversation with our guest today. You won't want to miss it. Unfortunately, we won't have time to catch every comment, so if there's something very important that you want seen, please consider using a super chat. As always, be respectful. We're glad you're here, and enjoy the show. Good afternoon, everybody. It is not the morning, it is the afternoon. Welcome. My name is Dustin, and I have my good friend Amy here with me today. Hello, Amy.
Hi, thanks for having me. I really appreciate you inviting me on. I'm really excited to be here.
I'm excited that you are here. You're one of my favorite people. Don't tell
I
everybody
feel
else.
I feel the same about you. I feel like we've known each other longer than a year. I just feel that way.
Yeah, it has been a year. It's crazy.
In a year. And we met in person.
Yeah, we
We
did.
met
We
in
met in real life.
real life before we ever and actually so I attribute you and Cindy and a bunch of people I met at Ketopalooza for the reason I got sucked into the YouTube space. Because I was ketoing on by myself. You know, I would watch Dr. Barry, I would watch Maria Emmerich and get recipe ideas, and I would Google recipe ideas, but I wasn't even really nobody knew of me before a year ago, really, if you think about it. Like, uh, nobody I didn't chat, I just put videos up and didn't chat, if you know what I mean.
Well, I'm so glad that you're here. So today's going to be pretty casual. Nothing too hardcoring like that. I just kind of want to, for those in the chat who may not already know you, which is probably few and far between, maybe get an idea of who you are since this is the first time you're kind of sitting down with me on my channel. I know you've gone over this a bunch on other channels, your own channel, which we'll make sure we'll get in the chat somewhere along the line, your link and all that fun stuff. And this is even streaming to your platform as well, if I'm not mistaken. So
Yes.
if you would like to just kind of give a, like one of those fun corporate high level kind of takes on who you are and where you come from, then we can kind of dig more into the meat of the topic of the day.
Yes. So, basically, my name is Rockin Coach Amy. I have a YouTube channel. That's not really my priority. My priority is more about what I've been through and sharing that with others and helping them. Um, I wasn't always a heavy person, you know. Some of us in the space have been heavy all of our lives. I grew up as a skinny little stick kid. They used to call me Olive Oil. If you ever watch Popeye, the skinny lady with the bun, you know, so they used to call me that and Sasquatch because I was tall when I was growing up. So I didn't have an obesity problem when I grew up. The thing that happened to me later in life was I started getting metabolically sick. Things started happening. I came down with a very serious, not deadly, but serious illness called trigeminal neuralgia, which it won't kill you, but it is called the suicide disease because it's so extremely painful that you want to die. And I did. And so then I became heavily medicated on narcotic drugs, you know, clonazepam, Vicodins. And this was all back in the early 2000s when doctors were, I don't want to say overprescribing, but they weren't aware of the long-term effects of being on pain medications. So um, I could have very well become, and I use this term lightly because I don't want to mean it as a derogatory term, an addict, like a drug, you know, a drug addict. Luckily, that didn't happen to me. Um, and then from there, I ended up having brain surgery, and I had surgery, and we can go more in depth on this, but I'm just trying to give like a synopsis about each thing that's happened to me, a short synopsis so we can go into other topics. I had brain surgery in 2008 to fix the trigeminal neuralgia, and that worked. It worked. And then in, I want to say, what year was that? 2013, I woke up one morning and my hip hurt really bad. Like I just was sleeping through the night. It, I don't know if I was exercising in my sleep or what happened, but I woke up and I had terrible hip pain. So I ended up having a surgery from that. And at this point, I had gained like, I was up to 260, 270 pounds. So I was approaching 300 pounds. And a lot of that I attribute to being happy, being happily married, learning to cook, not caring what my weight was, just being, and I wasn't one of these depressed people. I was depressed when I had the trigeminal neuralgia, but once that got cured, I never really struggled with depression. So I was lucky in that regard, but I was married, cooking, we were eating, living life, and I wasn't upset that I was heavy. It didn't bother me. I was happy. I'm like, I don't care what I weigh. I'm happy. As long as I'm happy, that's all that matters. So when I went to see the hip surgeon, he put a note in my chart, right? He put this note, and this is in 2013, they started to go digital charts. He put this note in my chart and it said, "We've talked extensively about weight." And I was like, "What? You never once mentioned I need to lose weight." And I lost it. And for whatever reason, I went home, I bawled. When I read that note in my chart, I'm like, why would he lie in my chart? We never talked about me being overweight. He never said you need to consider trying to lose weight. So something with that struck me. And I was like, okay, I got to do something. Um, well, and actually this happened. I had the surgery in 2013. And then I went 5 years, never fixed my problem, right? Never fixed my weight issue, never corrected my eating. And then in 2018, I had the spider incident, which you know about. Had the spider incident, fell in my yard. I probably would have still been fine, but I had that fall. And Dustin helped me with a little short. So if you're interested in seeing what happened, it was recorded on a security camera in the front of our house. And Dustin helped me redo the short. So you can go watch that. It's on my channel. And I fell, and then that retore that I had a labral tear. I retore the labrum in my left hip. And that's when the doctor put the note in my chart, the same doctor. He's like, "We've talked extensively about weight." I'm like, "No, we haven't." And so when I went back to meet that same surgeon who did my first surgery, I'm like, "Give me 6 months, right? Give me 6 months. I will figure this out and I will do something and lose the weight." And the other reason why I really felt that way was because the first surgery, labral tears are different than hip replacements. You have to be on crutches for 4 to 8 weeks. That's 2 months. I live in a tri-level with steps, and you can understand some of this with the struggles you've been through with the bathroom and stuff. Imagine being close to 300 pounds and have wimpy little arms, and I still have wimpy arms, but I had them when I was fat too. And trying to have to no weight bearing crutch up and down 3 levels of stairs. And the way my house is set up, the main floor, living room, kitchen, you have to either go upstairs to get to the bathroom or downstairs. Okay. I want to be on the main floor. I don't want to be stuck up in the kitchen and the bedroom and the bedrooms. I don't want to be stuck down in the basement. So I'm like, I can't do this again. I can't be on crutches at almost 300 pounds. I'm going to blow my armpit out. So I went back to the doctor. And I'm like, "Give me 6 months. Let me try to manage my pain. Give me 6 months, and then we'll talk about surgery in 6 months." And he's like, "Okay, perfect." So I had done Atkins in, I wanna say, right before my wedding in 2007, 2006, and I lost 30 pounds. So I knew that low carb works, right? So I thought, "Okay, I'm just gonna do what I did, 15 years ago." And so I started eating, and stop me if you don't want me to continue on this. I'm trying to do the short version, but it's turning into the long version, unfortunately, because that's me. So I decided, okay, I'm gonna do the Atkins thing again. And when I did Atkins, I just ate like meat and broccoli and steamed broccoli and green beans. So what ended up happening was I ended up eating grilled chicken every day, and I ended up eating steamed broccoli, and I thought I was gonna die because it was low fat and low carb. And I started losing a ton of weight. I lost 10 pounds a month, but my hair also fell out. So, my sister Janine, who's awesome, I would love to get her on your channel too, but she's very shy. She's very shy. She I didn't know this until recently, has been secretly doing keto for 20 years. I didn't know it, but she knew that I was trying to do this, right? And so she started sending me videos from Dr. Berry and recipes from, Carolyn Ketchum and Maria Emmerich. And I was like, "What? I can eat lasagna. I can eat taco pie. I can," I was like, "There's no way I can eat that." And I was like, mind blown, mind blown. And so I'm like, "Oh my gosh." And so my hair was already falling out. Things were happening because I was doing low fat, low carb. And I started making these recipes and I'm like, "Okay, this is sustainable. I can do this, right? I can do this." And I lost about 60 pounds when I went to see the surgeon, and so I got down to about 190 from, 190, I think is about my surgery weight. And then, unfortunately, 7 weeks after that surgery, I was chopping a salad in my kitchen, and I took a step, just a little baby step to the left, and my hip popped, and I about went to the floor. And so I retore my surgery failed, I retore my labrum in my left hip, went back to the doctor, and he's like, "I'm sorry, there's nothing more I can do for you." And I was in worse pain than I was before the surgery, that second surgery, but he's like, "But I got a guy. I got a guy I want you to go see. I'm gonna refer you to him. He's in Chicago at Rush Medical." So and I love my surgeon for this, because I think it takes real guts. He coulda opened me up again, right? He coulda taken the money from me from the insurance, and he coulda gotten another 80 grand from me from the insurance, and he said, "No." He's like, "I don't think I'm the right surgeon for you." And I think that's important for people to realize their limitations with other people, whether you're a health coach, whether you're a doctor, a surgeon, and to refer them out to other people. And I have sent so many people to this doctor because I trust him. I trust this guy with my health. And if I ever have to have a hip replacement, he can do it. He sent me to Dr. Shane No in Rush Medical in Chicago. And I love this because he was like, "I can fix you." Right. And my brain surgeon was like this too. In first 5 minutes of meeting both of them, they're like kind of cocky. And I'm like, whoa, that kind of impressed me. Like, "I can fix you." And he did, and I've been good ever since. Knock on wood. Someday I may have to have a hip replacement. Also, couple other things. I am like the queen of surgeries. I had foot surgery in 2016, because I went to New York City, and this is still while I was heavy. I went to New York City, and I thought I could walk 20 miles the first day. Almost 300 pounds. So I'm like, I planned out all the stuff I wanted to go see. I want to go to the Empire State Building. I want to walk down to the Flatiron Building because I'm obsessed with the Flatiron Building. It's in a bunch of movies, and I wanted to see that. Well, I didn't realize a New York City block is not like a Mishawaka, Indiana block, right? I could walk around my block 10 times before you even get to the end of the street in New York City. And so I didn't really have a concept of how many miles we were walking, and I ruined my foot. I ruined my foot in New York City being 300 pounds trying to walk. So I ended up having foot surgery, and that is the worst surgery of all of them. Let me tell you. I regret ever having that surgery. And then I think I've had 8 total surgeries, 3 hip surgeries, foot surgery, brain surgery. I had a hysterectomy in 2023. So I ended up having that surgery in 2023. I don't really regret that surgery, although I do think for the women out there, it is throwing me into menopause, and I have a theory about that. And then, 3 weeks ago, and some of you know that I've been talking about this, 3 weeks ago, I, had, inguinal hernia repair, and that's down in your, like, groin area. I had a hernia there. So, my thoughts on that is I probably had weakened tissue from a hysterectomy in 2021, and that's maybe what caused it, but we'll never know. We'll never know. So a couple of other things that happened, and I'm gonna be careful how I word this, but I felt great on keto, felt great for several years. I had this burst of energy, right? Crazy energy. And then in 2020, we all know what happened. Okay. We all know what happened. And look, I don't care what your opinion is on this. All right. I'm not going to go into politics or opinions. This is just the facts that happened to me. So I have a 94-year-old mother-in-law that came to live with us who has dementia. I have elderly parents that live next door. I felt it was important because of the information that was provided to us during the time to get the the jab. Okay, that's all I'm going to say about that. I had a severe reaction to it. It almost put me in the hospital several times. That lasted for 45 days. I couldn't see a doctor. No doctor would see me because I had symptoms of the virus, right? And they wouldn't see me. So I was kind of dealing with this at home. I tried to go to the CDC to get help. They wouldn't help me. I tried to go to my local county city building to see if there's anything they could give me to help. The CDC told me to contact the local government. The local government told me to contact the CDC. So I was kind of stuck. Finally, I convinced my doctor after several tests that were negative to see me. And it wasn't until I got on several rounds of antibiotics, or not antibiotics, steroids. I had to take several rounds because something reacted, something that was in that. And this happens to me not just with the vaccine, but with other medications. Okay. I am very allergic to medications in general. So I'm very selective when the doctor wants me to go on medications. If I read the side effects, I'm like, nope, I'm not doing that because if it says may cause, swelling of the whatever and death, I'm probably going to be on the extreme version of that, like the death side of things. So I'm very cautious when I put anything in my body that I haven't taken before, because even vitamin C, I can't take vitamin C. Vitamin C makes me retching on the ground with all kinds of severe um, issues. So that happened. Now, after that happened, I got sick. I got through the little 45-day situation, but I started getting sick every month, month and a half. I caught the virus 7 times, 5 confirmed with positive tests. Part of that was because I was in and out of the nursing home, and every time my mother-in-law got it, I would get it. But then I would get the flu. I got RSV. I was catching all of these things that lasted for 2 years. That lasted for 2 years. That I was just battling illness. And then after that, I never really felt well. Like I just didn't. I don't know if it's the long COVID. I don't know if we can say that word. The long-term effects of that are a real thing. I don't know. But I had something where I just didn't feel well for 2 years. And then I never got back to that initial energy that I had on keto. This year in May, I had a very bad week. I went to the Ohio meetup, right? The Indiana meetup, where that Andy hosts, right? Had a blast. I came home. We had the storms that we had. Remember those? You probably had them in Indianapolis. We had storms. A tree fell, nearly missing our house, landed on our shed. That happened. And then in a week, so it wasn't a big deal. We're dealing with hiring an expensive company to come cut a bunch of trees down, which is thousands of dollars. So that was stressful. My brother had a work accident at work where he sliced his arm open, and he called me from work and says, "I'm in the ER, don't worry. They're calling a surgeon in." And I'm like, "What?" So, of course, I'm the only one he told. So I clocked out of work, drove down there, and I was sitting in the ER with him with his arm hanging open, bleeding, and he had lost a lot of blood. He cut an artery, nicked an artery. So I was dealing with that, and then 2 days, actually, this happened the week before the meetup, because 2 days later, Thursday night, before I was getting ready to drive on Friday, I get a call from my mom, and my dad's going to the ER, and she asked if I would drive him. So, like, all this happened in a week. Then I went to the meetup, and I came home, and I just felt the only way I can describe this is I felt paralyzed. There was one day I couldn't even get up for work. I think I woke up 5 minutes before I was supposed to clock in. I felt paralyzed. I felt so tired. I can't explain this. You just have to, like, have experienced this level of exhaustion. And I'm like, "Something's going on. I don't feel right." And, I've been complaining about exhaustion to my doctors for, like, years. They're like, "Oh, you're just, you're hitting that age," whatever the excuses doctors give. And honestly, my doctor is the same age as me, and I feel like she's going through the same thing. So I feel like she doesn't even have the answers, because she talks to me. And so, I've been doing keto for what? Going on 8 years now, and I'm like, "Things are going great, but I just don't feel well." So I'm like, "Let's try this carnivore thing." Okay, carnivore. And I wanna see if it really does give the energy that people says it does. Okay, this is the whole reason. And, honestly, people wanna do keto, I'm all for that. I think it's great. It did great. I did well on keto for many years. And then I just decided to go, and I meant strict. Meat, butter, cut cheese out even, and cheese is carnivore. Meat, butter, eggs. And I do drink black coffee and tea. That's the only thing that I do. And I will say, Dustin, within 2 weeks, I started to feel like energy coming back. And I wouldn't say I'm 100%, but I would say I feel a lot better. Okay. So, in a nutshell, that's kind of I was trying to talk very fast because I could tell this the 2-hour version, but I wanted to give you a chance to cut in, go through some comments maybe from people and see what's going on and see if you have questions.
I mean, you talked about the decision to to follow through with what the recommendations were in the pandemic, and I was like, that was part of our situation. Um, there's no choice. Chandra being an IC at the time, not being an ICU nurse, she was an RN at the time, so there was no choice. It was either do it or not have a job. So and we weren't really like upset with it at the time. You know what I mean? It was like we that was the information that we had, and so it was do what we have to do. And so I mean, I went along, and but anyway, yeah. I mean, and luckily we didn't have any negative impacts as far as we're aware. Um, but I'm curious to know, like, when it came to that, that couple of weeks where you were exhausted and you were having, trouble getting out of bed. Um, is it possible that it was more than just diet? I mean, it was obviously like, like a mental exhaustion component involved. It was
Yes.
just,
Mhm.
you were just kind of like, I need to give up for a little while. You know what I mean? You
So
have those, like, I have those stressful weeks where everything seems to just pile on, and you're just like, you know what? I'm tired.
yes. So I do think, and this has been brewing. Okay, so this goes back, and I'm sorry, Dustin, you're a dude, but I'm gonna go here because this might help somebody.
Please.
Uh, I believe I'm only 49, right? I have a theory about women who have hysterectomies because I've talked to Kendra about this. I've talked to 2 people in my personal life. I have no science to prove this. I'm just gonna throw this out there, and Dustin
Just
and I
throwing
are
together
not
anecdotal
doctors.
evidence.
Yeah, Dustin and I are not doctors or licensed medical professionals. I'm just gonna throw this out there. But the more women that I talk to who have partial hysterectomies, who still have their ovaries, within 2 to 3 years of having that done, it they start menopause. Kendra's like 30 something, 35, and she's having hot flashes, and there's another person in my personal life that's not in YouTube or not in a health space, and she had a hysterectomy, and she's 10 years younger than me, and she's starting into menopause. So I have this theory. I can't prove it. I don't have science. And so back to your question, the other thing that's starting to happen is I'm starting to have hot flashes, and exhaustion is a side effect of menopause. Joint pain. I'm having knee pain in my knee, even on carnivore, both knees, which is weird. And I know enough about orthopedic surgery because I have had enough of them that if you have an injury, usually it's in one. If you've injured something, it's usually in one joint, not both, right? If it's like a knee or an elbow or a shoulder or a hip, it's now some unless you have some disease that just breaks down your joints, right? Which I don't believe that I have. So I'm starting to have joint pain in my knees, right? And so I think some of these things they're stress related, like you mentioned. And that week that it got so bad. That week was there was like several things happening all in that week, several serious things. And then coupled with the hot flashes, so I know that's a sign of menopause. Come on, we know what that is. 20-year-old women don't get hot flashes unless they see a cute man walk by or something, but you know what? And, so yeah, you're absolutely right. It wasn't just food related because I was pretty strict keto for a long time. I mean, I'm actually heavier. Oh, the other thing that started to happen in the beginning of the summer is I started to gain weight, right? I started to gain weight when I was 153 pounds for 4 years. Every week I weighed in at 153 pounds. And I started to, for no reason, and this kind of goes into the topic of what's happening out in the controversy that's happening out in the keto carnivore space right now, where you're not doing it hard enough. You're not people who have been doing stuff for 15 years and all of a sudden they started gaining weight. And this is probably gonna spark some controversy, but I did protein sparing modified fasting for 4 years. I was very successful at it and I felt pretty good on it. I felt pretty good on it until and that's low fat, low carb keto, like carnivore, 3 days a week, 1 to 3 days. It's carnivore basically, but it's low fat, 1 to 3 days a week. And I loved the way I felt and the way I looked until I didn't, until I stopped feeling well. And I'm like, something's up, something's wrong, something's changing. And I started to gain weight, even doing that. So I'm like, what am I doing this for anymore? If one of my goals is to maintain my weight and that's not happening anymore. So that's when I thought, and my sisters always said, maybe you should try carnivore. And a bunch of people are like, maybe you should try carnivore. And I'm like, why? I'm doing great. Well, then I wasn't doing great. So then that's how I decided to try carnivore.
Now, when you started to do carnivore, were you including beef? Were you including organ meat, just regular meat?
So I like liver, like beef liver. I like chicken liver too. Okay. I mean, I did. And I ate liver every once in a while on keto. And how I do it, for those people who don't like liver, if you have a KitchenAid mixer, and you can also buy a little crank one too. That's probably cheaper. I have a KitchenAid mixer. I bought the meat grinder attachment on it, right? And I buy calf livers. And I take one slice of it, run it through that and grind it up. And then I mix that into like 2 to 3 pounds of ground beef. And then I make hamburger patties out of it, and then I air fry them, and then I throw them in the freezer. And I don't eat one every day because I don't think you want to eat liver every day because of, is it vitamin A toxicity or whatever that they talk about? But I have one a week or one every couple weeks. If I'm packing my lunch for work on Tuesdays, I will grab one of the liver burgers out, and instead of eating a regular hamburger, I will eat a liver burger. So yes, and I since I've gone carnivore, I've started to consciously do more organ meat. I would love to make, I think I've made Nisha's chicken liver bacon grease pate, and that is delicious with pork rinds. I'm not gonna lie. I like the liver pate.
I want to. There's been a couple of questions, and I think that let me go ahead and pull them up here. I'm gonna say hello to some people. We want to say hi to Lynn. Lynn is here. 22Q Cat. We've got Thomas Target Prime Rim is here, and we've got Maritza is here. We've got Midnight Vince is here. Karen Harrington is here. She says that tapping in. I have had two small labrum tears. That those were painful. Couldn't imagine bigger ones.
Mhm.
Uh, we've
Yep.
got Cassandra Ria is here. Good afternoon to you. Bride's Biscuit is here. We have a new person here, so we have TPE690. Hello, everyone. My name is Kariko. I'm 51 years old. I'm new to the keto lifestyle, and I'm on oxygen. I'm on an oxygen tank. I have inflammation in the gut, stomach ulcer. I'm looking for tips on how to start. Now, again, just to preface the fact, something that Amy just said a little while ago, we are not healthcare professionals, doctors, nurses. We are in process of becoming health coaches, but that is not a medical professional. So, what I always recommend for people, and really just tell people what I do, is keep carbs as low as possible, focus primarily on meat. These days, I would say keep your budget low, frozen burger patties where you can find them cheap. Just make sure they're just beef, chicken thighs, because those are usually under $2 a pound. Right now is a good time to stock up if you have room. Stock up on turkeys for $1 a pound. I mean, no one wants to eat turkey all the time, but I mean, that's the current situation a lot of us are in. Finding food that's affordable is a struggle. Eggs, bacon, fat, good healthy fats, tallow, lard. And one of the great things that I've been noticing lately is that lard is, or not just lard, but lard's kind of always been a thing you could find in the grocery store, but now tallow is starting to appear. I have purchased two different types of tallow in the last 2 weeks. I've purchased from the grocery, from Costco, I purchased some of the Chicago packing companies, Wagyu, beef tallow. Now, how Wagyu it really is probably not that important to me, but just the fact that it's a hopefully decently clean beef tallow, as well as Real Good Foods has introduced a relatively affordable beef tallow, and I found it at Walmart. It was like a 16, 18-ounce jar, something like that, 20-ounce jar for like $8. So, I mean, is it super cheap? No. Is it as affordable as corn oil and soy oil and all that? No. But is it going to be better for you? And you can reuse it more. So that's what I found. I'm probably going to make some content around those things, just to let people know that they're out there, um, because I think that's important, and because tallow's starting to show up, I think it's important to make sure people are aware so they can start to buy it. So we can start choosing what oils are available in the store with our wallet. So I hope
Yes.
that helps a little bit.
Yes, and to add to that, the seed oils, I would highly recommend removing seed oils.
Hmm.
And if you don't know what the bad oils are, you can go to Dr. Berry's website, type in, and his last name is spelled Berry. He's a Southern country doctor. You're not gonna mistake him when you first see him. But if you type in Dr. Berry bad seed oils, his video will come up. You want to get rid of the canola oil. You want to get rid of the corn oil. The even peanut oil. You don't want to use peanut oil. A lot of people think peanut oil is good for you. What you want to do is you want to even, and I'm probably gonna take some flack for this, but even avocado oil and olive oil are better, but you wanna try to get cold pressed or, they're starting to sneak seed oils into even those oils now, so you gotta be careful with those even. But honestly, what Dustin said about the lard and the, bacon, save your bacon grease. I cook everything in bacon grease. If you can find a butcher local, like nearby, my butcher that is 2 minutes from my house, I found has lard, or not lard. They have beef tallow, and they will sell you. beef parts. It used to be free, but you can make your own tallow if you're even interested in doing something like that. Me, I don't necessarily have time to do all this stuff right now, but uh yeah, Dustin, I saw your page. You don't either. But you can even make your own tallow and just call your butcher. And I know Myers. I don't know, Dustin, do you have a Myers down there?
Yeah, we
Myers.
have. Well, we've had Meyer since the '90s. Now, as far as by my house, they're currently building a Meyer like 4 minutes from my house. So I'm going to have access to one of those, and they're one of the only grocery stores. Well, Kroger kind of has a butcher section or whatever, if you will, but Meyer, I think, actually really cuts their meat in house. So
Yeah, and go so I went to the local Myers here and I talked to one of the meat, the meat attendants, and I said, "Look, I'm looking to get some beef fat to make some tallow." And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "We would give it to you, but we can't legally because of OSHA and everything else." He's like, "We'll sell it to you, but we'll put a really low sticker price on it." So you can even go to your grocery store and talk to your meat manager and ask them, "Look, you have to call them though because they're going to throw it out or do whatever with it. If you don't, you have to call them and place an order. You'll have to probably pay something, but it will be very low if you want to make your own tallow."
you can probably
And
even do a standing order, right? Like I'll be here
yeah,
every Tuesday at noon and
yeah, you could yeah.
about 5 pounds or 10 pounds or whatever.
Mhm,
Because you can do
mhm.
that in a crock pot.
And the other tip that I have for those of us who ribeyes is our favorite thing, what I've been doing every Christmas and Easter, I drop about 300 or $400, and I go. The local grocery stores will put their ribeyes on sale at Christmas time. The standing rib roasts on sale. Basically, a standing rib roast is ribeyes you just have to cut yourself, right? So I go I think it's the week of Christmas, and it kind of sucks because you're already spending money on Christmas. So you have to budget for this. But I go and buy 3 or 4 standing rib roasts at Christmas, and then I do it again at Easter, and then I cut them up and then I freeze them, and that lasts me the rest of the year. Now, I won a deep freezer 20 years ago that we still have. It's getting a little old, but it still works. If you do not have a deep freezer, I highly even if I had an apartment, I would find a place to have a deep freezer. I don't care. Even a small chest freezer. I don't
We
care
have two.
because yeah, we have a deep freezer. We have a full standing fridge in our garage. We have a full standing fridge and freezer in our house. We have two drink, like 2 beverage. Our electric bill is really high. I probably shouldn't have all that, but I do.
I wanted to touch on the rib roast. So the other day I was at Costco and they had a sign that their New York strips were $9.99 a pound, and I was like, oh, I was about to start throwing the cut packages in the cart, but it was for the New York the uncut. So it was like
Yes,
$200 a package, and I was like,
but that's how you gotta do it.
I know. So if they're still like that this next week, I'm gonna because I got to clean out some room in our freezer because Chandra's on this kick. She wants to us to just eat turkey for the next 2 months, and I'm like,
Can't.
my soul will die. But I mean, realistically, I'm already going as cheap as possible with food. I eat like I make her the beef steaks. I make anytime we have steaks, I cook her the steaks. I'm eating the burger patties, the hot dogs in the air fryer. I've made 2 batches of pumpkin sausage soup in the last 2 weeks, and I still have probably a little bit left. Probably gonna have some today. And then I know that we've got a little bit of an issue coming up in the next month. We're having another mouth to feed coming along. I mean, I'm super excited about that, but I know that that's just going to cause myself a lot more stress because one of the funny things is I was like, I was talking with our daughter and I was like, so when do you go on leave and when do you go back to work? And she was like, she goes on leave like the day before because she's supposed to she has a scheduled cesarean. And so
Uh,
she works to the day before. and then she doesn't go back until March. And I was like, so I looked at Shannon, I was like, we need to get out of here and go somewhere, just the two of us, before she goes back to work. And our daughter goes, you can't leave me. I can't do this all on my own. I'm
Oh
thinking
my
like,
god.
I was like, all the people who have to do it on their own, and here you are like, I mean, she is, I mean, we are so fortunate to have the ability to be there for her, and I'm there all day, every day, and I'm going to be like, I'm going to be so hopefully well rested because all those baby naps, just every time the baby sleeps, I'll be asleep.
Aw.
But I'm looking forward to it. Don't judge me. But
Can I
yeah,
read a question real quick?
yeah. Here,
Can
tell
I read a
which
question
one is
real
it? I'll
quick?
pull it up.
It's a Ketovore Farm Mom, which is
So
Cass.
Cassandra, yeah. The Q&A one down there. And I do, before you do that, I
Yes.
want to say hi to Helen. Helen is here. Good morning, Helen. Welcome. So let me go ahead and pull up the question from Cassandra here. Now, is it the one that do you feel better now? Or the
Do I
one
feel
after
better
that?
now? Yeah, it's the one, do I feel better now? Yeah. No, there's a longer one about higher fat. This one. Okay. So this brings up an interesting question. And it's not, again, it's probably not going to be popular in the carnivore community because now I have some theories on this too. So remember, I was doing strict keto with protein spare modified fasting. And if anybody's interested in learning what that is, you can go see that on Maria Emmerich's. She has a whole cookbook and everything for that. I went from low fat, regular keto to carnivore, high fat. And I was like, I kind of did what Bella did. If you guys all know Steak and Butter Gal, I was like, oh man, I can have as much fat as I want on this, right? Well, I continued gaining weight, and so I put on 20 pounds. And then I got kind of irritated because I'm like, this is not, I'm feeling better. So there's a plus, right? I'm feeling a lot better doing high fat. Like I'm having more energy. I don't feel like I can get out of bed in the morning. I'm still having this weird thing that's happening, which is the knee pain, right? It's not curing that. It is getting better, but I'm also taking some NSAIDs because of my surgery, right? So I'm thinking the NSAIDs might actually be what's helping the knee pain and not carnivore because I'm still having pain. But I've backed off the amount of fat I'm using a little bit, just a little bit. So I've lost a few of the pounds, the 20 pounds, right? So I was tracking what I was doing and I was tweaking it a little bit and tweaking the fat down a little. And I'm not talking, I'm still eating fatty meat. What I'm not doing is putting a half a stick of butter on it, right? Or putting butter in my coffee every morning. So I've just kind of backed out. I'm getting a look of shame from Dustin, but I do have butter in my coffee today. And for those of you keto carnivore, please, I did put a scoop of keto chow in here, sweetened. And it doesn't taste that sweet to me, so I don't really think it will affect me that much. Just as a treat. So, if the carnivore police want to jump on my case, that's fine. I can take it. The other thing I really need to do, I think pulling back on the plants, pulling back on something has helped, whether it's increasing my fat a little bit or removing the plants. I don't know which because I did the same thing. I did both things at the same time, right? Um, I'm hoping once in a while I can eat an occasional plant. I am making kimchi right now, which is fermented plants, right? So I'll be curious to see how things go in a week when that is finished brewing. But I've kind of accepted the fact that I've gained a few pounds. That's just part of the process. I've heard a lot of carnivores say that they gained weight in the beginning and then it took them a year and then they lost the weight again. So I'm trying not to let myself get so fixated on the scale and fix more on how, focus more on how I'm feeling. And the other thing is I just had surgery 3 weeks ago. I'm not even tracking my food right now because I'm like, you know what? I need to give it a few weeks before I start tracking food again and just recover from that. That in itself is every time you have a surgery, whether it's major or minor, it takes a while to recover from that. So I'm giving myself some grace. So I hope that answer your question about it is making a difference. I do feel better, but I have had to back the fat off a little bit because I was putting weight on like crazy on carnivore. So I'm trying to mitigate that a little bit too. What are your thoughts on that, Dustin?
Well, when it comes to this recovering from surgery, I think definitely make sure that you're eating enough. I think when we start to track, I think we tend to trend down with what we're eating,
Mhm.
whether it's intentional or not, because we have that. It's like when we have that mindset of like a lot of people start the keto. Well, if keto is great, then carnivore is going to be better, and if carnivore is good, then like lion diet's got to be the best, and then we start tracking things, and we'll find if 2,500 calories or whatever your metrics are for measuring, then trending down. Well, this is going to help me be faster, and you know what I mean. All these things. It's like the human mind tends to do these type of things, right? And I was just curious. You're currently not tracking, and you are hopefully, I imagine, basically going by satiety signaling at this point. How do you feel? How are you? Are you hungry? You're not letting yourself be overly hungry, because I know that you have told me over the past that you just are always hungry.
Yep. Yep. And I need to get some testing done. I need to
You
and
have like worms or something.
I need to go into this book that we're reading in our class. This book right
Yeah,
here.
I gotta find
Um
my copy. It's in the house somewhere.
I I need to go into this book and I need to get a full panel of hormones tested. And I need to know if there's a leptin and ghrelin test. I would just like to know for my own thing because the other thing that's happened to me is exactly what you said. People are like, eat until you're comfortably stuffed. So I did that. And guess what? I was never comfortably stuffed. And next thing you know, and I hate using calories as a reference point, right? But it's really one of the only things that we have. So I'm like, let me just track to see what I'm eating. And why am I still hungry? I was eating a lot of food. 4,000 over 4,000 calories, 300 grams of fat, and I wasn't full.
That's more than I
So I
eat.
mean, so something when so if you see me in a carnivore space and people are like, you need to eat until you're comfortably full, I'm like, okay, there's more to it than that. There's
Like,
more to it.
listen, just hear me out. Here's where I've been going with this. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. So, and the other thing is, I'm pretty sure if I went to one of those Brazilian steakhouses right now, they would kick me out and tell me never to come back because I think I could out eat any man right now in calorie intake or whatnot. I don't know what's going on. It could be menopause. It could be maybe 4 years of doing PSMF and now I'm starting to feed my body fat and stuff and it's like, yeah,
Well, I mean,
let's
you
go,
could be putting your body back to where it wants to be. I mean, all the time, like as you said, you were 153 pounds for like 4 years. Maybe
Mhm.
that's not where your body wants to be.
I'm at 160. I weighed yesterday. I'm trying not to weigh all the time, but I'm like, I felt thinner. I'm at 168 right now. I'm at 168. I'm 5'9". I used to be 5'11", but I'm the incredible shrinking girl. 5'9", 168 pounds. So I have put on, I got down to 148. The picture on my thumbnail when I'm chatting in the blue dress, the skinny blue dress, I was at 148 pounds. But here's another thing. I was also taking a migraine medication called topiramate. Topiramate is an appetite suppressant. One of the side effects of topiramate is weight loss. Okay. Uh, Another side effect of topiramate is your hair falls out. and I was losing my hair in clumps, and I'm like, "Nah, this ain't happening, right? This ain't happening." I was like, clumps of hair, freaking out, and it was do you know who Ask Nurse Cindy is?
I'm familiar, I believe.
Yeah, she's talked at Ketopalooza before, I believe. And she made a video about check your medications. And this light bulb went off. I'm like, "Holy crap." I thought my hair was falling out because, I'm 48, I'm going through menopause, whatever. Hormones are messed up. No, it wasn't that. It was this medication I was on, and my hair was just coming out in clumps. And I went to my doctor and said, "No, I don't care if I get headaches, but I'm not losing my hair. Nothing against not having hair, Dustin, but I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna not have hair." So immediately I tapered off of it, and um my hair started growing back like little baby birdie fuzzy things, like crazy. Like I have a lot of hair. It's it's growing back. And now I didn't gain weight back right away. I thought I was gonna gain weight back right away, and I didn't really. That was in January of was it this year? 2024, I went off the medication. It wasn't until June of this year I started to gain weight. So I don't feel like going off of that really caused me any weight gain. But I'm gaining weight now. It's okay. So there's that.
So, are you happy where you are currently?
Yes.
Content, I should
Yeah,
say, more than happy.
I like that I'm feeling better. My clothes don't fit well, and that's what stresses me out a little bit, and it's not muscle. Everyone's like, "You're gaining muscle." I'm like, No, it's fat that I'm gaining fat because I'm
So,
not working out."
so do you know what your body fat percentage was when you were
No,
153 pounds? You don't?
no, no, I'm sure it wasn't great because I didn't work out then. I know where you're going. I was probably like skinny fat where
No.
my
My question
muscle my
is,
muscle
my question would be, do we know, and I imagine it's going to vary from individual to individual, but I would imagine, and I think this is accepted at this point, that women need to have a higher body fat percentage than men. Where men, I mean, men should probably be about, what is it, 20%, 15, 20%?
you're probably onto something here. Women probably should be a higher body fat percentage than men,
And my question was, do you think you may have been too low?
possibly,
And then that
possibly.
impacts hormones, that impacts metabolism, it impacts how you feel. There's like, just a cascading kind of impact of, being too low, and then your hormones are out of whack, and then it's like just like a domino effect.
Yep. Yep, it's possible. That's why I'm not stressing about it too much. Just because, if I'm feeling better, then that's something, that's probably more important than looking skinny or
Yeah.
feeling skinny. And I'm not obese. You know what I'm saying? I'm not
You're a
obese.
thin, you're a thin woman. I've met you in person multiple times. You're a thin woman.
I am now. I wasn't
Well,
like
when I met you,
10
I mean,
years
all
ago.
the times I've met you, you've been a thin woman.
Mhm. Yeah, I was growing up and I am now. And I have been times throughout my life, but I was almost 300 pounds at one point. So, I mean, I'm not in the over 300-pound club, but I was wearing a size almost 20, size 20 for women who know sizes. I've got down to I'm in a size 8 now, size 8. The 8s are feeling a little tight, so I might be back up to a 10. I'll never be skinnier than a size 8. I don't know these women who are size 2s, but
Well, they're like 5'1". That's why.
yeah, I used to be 5'11" when I played volleyball. I've shrunk. I'm still a tall frame. Even at 5'9", I feel tall.
Yes, I mean, you still have these women that are like 5'1", 5'2", 5'3". the teeny tiny, and that's just not, if you're 5'9", 5'7", 5'9", that's not you. And that's
Right.
okay.
And I don't care about the size. The weight obsession for me started with this hip issue, right? Because the thinner that I was, the better my joints felt. The more weight that I carry, the more my joints hurt. And so I went to my regular GP doctor who's since retired. He's no longer my GP, and I loved him. He's been my doctor since I was 17. So I really had a meltdown when he left. But I said, look, I know you don't want to have this conversation because he would never talk to a woman about weight. Probably because he's married and like you never, even a doctor doesn't want to, have to have that conversation with a woman because he wants to live. But I asked him, I said, look, I need to get my weight under control. I need to set a goal for myself for all of my joint issues. For my height and what you know about me, what would be a good goal to weigh? And I said, would 160 pounds be a good goal weight? And he said, yes. So we set the goal weight of 160 pounds. Somehow my body decided it wanted to go down to 148 at one point. Okay. And I wasn't even trying. I got down to that. And so then I became upset. I didn't want to go lower than that because that's only like 3 pounds over my high school weight, right? I weighed 145 in high school at 5'11. And I didn't want to go lower than that, but I started to become obsessed with like, oh, I got to keep here because I got here. I need to maintain this maintenance. And I got up to like 153 to 155. I'm like, okay, this is fine. This is probably a good place to be. And that's where the 155, 53, 55 range, like, and I maintained that for 4 years. Like I never gained weight. I never lost weight. I was just that for 4 years until this year. And so some of us can tend to be a little obsessed with the scale. I think, and I love this person, Maria Emmerich might be one of them, She, I think, has become a little obsessed with the weight loss too. It's a real thing. Like
She's
women
so tiny.
women
I've met her a few times, and I've hugged her a couple of times. Every time I meet, we hug, and she's a phenomenal person. But I hug her, and I feel like I'm going to crush her to death. Like she's just tiny. I'm like, because I just encompass her. Like I just
Mhm.
envelop her, and I'm like, I'm gonna hurt this lady. Like
I felt that way too when I hugged her, and we have that picture of me standing next to her, and she's as tall as my sister. My older sister Janine is about her height, and I'm like, oh, when I stand next to shorter women, I dwarf them. I look like the giant, the giant lady. But that's okay. I love her, but I can identify her. I can identify with Maria on so many levels with her struggles and becoming too thin. I don't think I was too thin, but my current doctor even said don't lose any more weight. And the reason why she said, and this might be beneficial for somebody out there to hear, and the reason why she said don't lose any more weight, what if you get sick? What if you get some sort of illness? I'll throw cancer out there just because. What if you get cancer, and then you have no buffer for weight loss? You have nothing, if you get sick and you can't eat, you're going to lose weight and then you're going to be so sick you can't heal from stuff. So, she did mention that. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I don't want to lose any more weight. I didn't want to gain weight either, but I didn't want to lose any more. But
Well,
yeah.
I think that's a valid concern. I mean, the idea that the reason why we have fat stores is to protect ourselves, and whether it's illness, famine, the things that we've come across and the entirety of human existence. I mean, we are in a very, very small snapshot of time right now where the idea that the bulk of humanity is not in starvation. Now, is there
Yeah.
starvation out there? 100%. There's people out there who are literally starving. But for the bulk of humanity, for the first time ever, maybe, we are in a situation where we have a food abundance and we don't know how to handle it.
Right.
Our obesity epidemic, And I mean, it goes further than just having a food abundance. There's the abundance of food that we have is not necessarily correct human food. I mean, we don't have to go in depth into that because that's like kicking a dead horse. But the idea that we should be, as low as body fat as possible, I don't think makes us healthier. Because I think that there was a question in here that from Cassandra. She said that do you believe women later in life are healthier at a higher body fat? I kind of think that that's a typical thing you see with women. I don't necessarily know if that's a natural thing or as they start to slow down in life, your responsibilities start to slow down, your working slows down, you've raised your children, they've moved out, now you're just kind of living more. I mean, and that's obviously a first world thing, but we're coming into, like you're living a life of leisure more so than you are running the rat race, and you just slowly start to gain weight. But I mean, that could also be more indulgences in cakes and cookies, and now you're getting into baking and you're eating more bread, and I don't know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with that, Dustin. And I think we do need a little bit more fat when we're aging to protect us, to help us heal from, as we age, we get more illnesses and we're more susceptible to other things. I know another thing I want to add to that, and these people were beautiful people. They were wonderful people who cared for me. I'm only saying this not to knock anybody down, but just to make a point, right? You're talking about population as a general rule. We're becoming more metabolically unhealthy and more obese. I was shocked. Actually, I'm not shocked, but I'm still surprised. Other than my surgeon and my anesthesiologist who look like they're young and they look like they are fit and they work out all the time. Every other health professional that was in the hospital that cared for me, they looked metabolically sick, you know. And I hate to say this, but almost all of them were 100 pounds overweight, easy, at least 80 pounds overweight. And I'm not judging them because I've been there. Okay. I've walked the walk. I talk the talk. I'm just making an observation that it's the people who are supposed to have this knowledge to be able to. And then the other thing, the other thing that happened is, of course, I'm waking up from anesthesiology. And they're like, you have to eat something because you have to take this medication. You have to take this pill, but you have to eat something. I'm like, what are my choices? Crackers, applesauce. And I'm like, no, like, can I have a piece of bacon or something? And, next time I'm going to bring a cooler with my own food, a hard boiled egg or something, Uh, I'm like, do you guys have cottage cheese? I'm like, that's the best option I would do. And they're like, no. And they're like, but this applesauce is no added sugar. I'm like, fine. So I took a bite of the no sugar applesauce because it was the best option of all the things they were giving me, and they're like, "You have to take this." Like, whatever. I brought my own soda, my own unsweetened soda, because I knew they were gonna make me drink something, and they let me drink that. And then they made me eat again. They're like, "You have to eat something else." They're like, "We have a cheese stick." I'm like, "Great, give me the cheese stick." Now, mind you, I haven't had any cheese since July. That one cheese stick, talk about addiction. I had an addiction to cheese. That night when I got home, there was cheese in the house, and I went and ate, like, I don't even know because I was still coming out of I was on Oxy, so I don't know, but I had baggies of cheese in there for my husband just to grab and go, and I probably ate half of those baggies, multiple baggies. The next day I ate cheese. The day after that I ate cheese.
I have a
Last night
question
I
about
had
that.
cheese.
I have a question about the mechanism behind that. So we're quick now, and this is somebody that I am a forever recovering food addict, right? Food addiction, very difficult food addiction. I would say my question is, are we too quick to call something like wanting cheese an addiction? Are we doing ourselves a bigger disservice by calling like the idea that you had a piece of cheese and then you wanted more cheese an addiction, or is that something just the body having a response saying, we need this. We just been through something traumatic, highly traumatic. They cut you open. Cheese is comforting. That's something, and and obviously not even that bad. It's relatively good for us. Do you think it's a thing to call that addiction? Do you think that's a disservice to us, our community, the way we look at things? And are we too quick to call things addiction? Is kind of the question where I'm at. Because I hear so often, oh, I'm addicted to this and my addiction to this, and I had a piece of this, and the addiction came roaring back. And I'm not talking about chicken tenders or macaroni and cheese or whatever. I'm talking like regular like cheese or whatever, because I hear it all the time in the carnivore community, the keto community. I hear these things, and I wonder just how much of a disservice we're doing by mislabeling just normal signaling from our body as addiction.
And I'll be honest with you, I joke about being a cheese addict, okay? I say that. I call myself that because I really love cheese. I always have. And, but I will tell you what I've learned in this last week. I didn't gain any weight from eating cheese. I'm not really losing any more weight, but I don't think if I didn't eat cheese, I would lose any more weight. I think my body has a lot going on, and right now it's trying to heal some things, and it's saying we're not losing weight. But you know what I did notice about eating the cheese this week? And I'm not talking about American cheese, seed oil cheese. I'm talking about like the good Kerrygold, hard cheese. My favorite's Cabot white cheddar, and even these little Colby cheese sticks are probably better than some of the stuff you can get. I did notice if when I'm in one of my because I'm always hungry. When I'm in one of my really hungry moods, and I'm like, I just need something to soothe me, like make me take away this hunger that I'm having all the time, so I don't have to push through it. When I went and ate that cheese, and George, is he still here? He would say the queso morphine and the cheese, it just made my body feel like good. And my hunger was gone for several hours, right? It soothed that hunger. And I'm not talking about like the first day when I got home from surgery, I just ate a ton of cheese. Since then, I would just have a little bit of cheese every couple of days, just when I'm like really really like going through a thing and I'm trying to do PhD homework and I'm just like, hunger. I can't concentrate because hunger. I can't focus on what I'm doing because I have hunger. A couple sticks of cheese, like would just, I don't know, it just does the trick. So maybe we're over focusing on, you know, oh, you can't eat cheese because you're not meeting your goals and cheese is gonna stall you and this or that. Well, tell you what, for me, cheese is like helping to soothe this, you know, whatever it is, hunger, so I can focus on what I'm doing and not get distracted with the hunger signaling. And I don't think it is derailing me. Now, if I sat there and ate cheese all day, maybe, you know what I'm saying? But just once a day or once every couple days, maybe not. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
And that's the question that I have. I think that we lump all of the things that can cause food addiction together in with things that our body truly needs, like you know cheese, and which is some protein, some dairy, some lactose, whatever, right? Those are things that we could utilize, right? And I would say, like right now, if I go downstairs, there are next to the stove, there are like a package of these cinnamon roll things with huge amounts of cream cheese icing on them or whatever, and there's cereal and there's all kinds of things in the refrigerator, and I'm always kind of battling that because of the kids living here again. And I've talked to them about that, and they don't understand the addiction side of it. They don't understand. They just don't understand the addiction side of it. Because for me, I can't moderate the things. I will eat until I explode, kind of, you know what I mean? And you know, and even you know, and it's a constant battle for me because I understand where I'm at, where I come from, where I've been, where I'm trying to go, and I understand how looking at these foods, you know, are detrimental to my goals, to my way of life, just to how I feel on a daily basis. But I don't have much control of them not being in the house, so I have to see them. I have to learn to navigate that, and so you know, I'm always kind of thinking along the lines of yeah, the idea that I want the Cheez-Its, or the idea that I want the cinnamon rolls that are sitting there, or I want to cook up a couple packs of ramen. You know, these types of feelings that I have are vastly different than my desire for, you know, some burger patties and some eggs, or to have a, you know, just throw a package of hot dogs into the air fryer and have some mustard with it. Those desires are vastly different, but those are my body still signaling to me that I need to put something in my body. And I kind of wonder with, you know, and it kind of harks back to that question that we've already discussed with is, you know, is your, you know, and you say you joke around about it, but I know that a lot of people in the community aren't necessarily joking when we talk about
Yeah.
I'm addicted to this and I'm addicted, you know, and that's, I have it, and my addiction for this comes through. Like, how much of that is actual addiction versus our body telling us what we need, and how do we
Mhm.
differentiate, and how can we know the difference? I think fundamentally, I think, and I'll kind of answer my own question, but fundamentally look at the source of the food. Is it a single ingredient whole food? You know, not to say that cheese isn't a, you know, cheese isn't a single ingredient whole food. It's cheese is a processed food. I mean, it's milk and enzymes and things added together to get cheese. But I still consider cheese to be a whole food, not necessarily a single ingredient whole food, but a whole food nonetheless. But, you know, like that package of ramen is not a whole food. But then, you know, I know that I can't moderate potatoes, but potatoes a whole food. So, I mean, there's just a navigation issue, I think. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, this is like a discussion that can kind of go in circles and never quite end, but
When you say processed and whole food, I mean, the beef, the cow itself is a whole food.
right.
Then the cow goes through butchering, which is processing. We process
Yes.
the cow. That's processed food. So, I mean,
And I have had
what
that
we
debate
mean is yeah.
I've had that debate with a manufacturer of a company or manufacturer of a product, and he was saying, you know, everything's processed, and I was like, yeah, okay, but that's being very disingenuous. The fact that like I'm like, you know, the difference between Kraft singles and regular cheese is a disingenuous thing. Like Kraft singles and regular cheese, they may be similar in outcome, but they're not the same in processing. And processing, because
Right.
something goes through a processing plant, doesn't mean that it's processed. I mean, vegetables get dug up by a machine. That's a process. That doesn't mean they're processed. I don't know. I just feel like we start getting hung up on semantics, and we have
Mhm.
and a lot of people come in with, you know, very disingenuous talking points and stuff. I mean, really to cover their own, you know, their own end goals, but you know, I
Agree.
just yeah.
I
So I
agree
feel
with that.
yeah. I know that's a weird thing to bring up, but you're just saying that I you know, you were really like, ooh, cheese, and you want to eat a bunch of cheese. I think picking our battles when it comes to
Mhm.
what our body's asking for, what we provide to our body, because our body's going to want what it wants, which we know is sort of you know, there's a lot of information out there that's being driven by gut biome. What, you know, what we are giving our belly a lot is what it's going to want. But then, I mean, there's things like cheese. I think there's, you know, ancestral, like think about animals out there, animals that are born, that have instincts and know what to eat without ever being shown. They just know what to eat. It's an instinct. I think, you know, there's satiety signaling. There's a lot of hunger signaling that are, you know, kind of in like instinctual for us as human beings, and I think we ignore those and go for what we want, or we've kind of gotten ourselves to where the food noise highly overpowers that natural hunger signaling that we get for what we're supposed to have. I don't know. A little long-winded today, so.
The other thing is, and actually maybe this is a blessing, and I didn't tell this when I told my story. I think you know this about me. And I think the difference between you and me, Chandra, has a little bit of this too. But um when I cut out certain things out of my diet, primarily gluten. I thought dairy did this, like cheese, but now I'm not so sure because I don't feel issues after I eat cheese. I'm not feeling issues after I eat cheese. But when I cut things out of my diet, gluten, other processed things, items, ingredients, my eczema went away. Oh, so this brings up another thing. All of the things that I've cured since I went keto 8 years ago. Asthma since childhood, gone. I was diagnosed at age 9. My allergies have gotten much better. I live with 4 cats and I'm allergic to them, but guess what? Unless a direct cat hair lands in my eyeball, I'm usually fine. My allergies are better. My high blood pressure when I was diagnosed at 35 was 220 over 110. My doctor was this close to sending me to the ER because he was worried I was at stroke level. The depression medications that I took while I was on trigeminal neuralgia, anxiety, that's gone. My joint pain, for the most part, except for this weird knee pain thing, my joint pain is gone as long as I eat clean, right? Even clean keto. Clean keto did that. My sleep apnea, and I think you and I are similar. My AHI was 70. So that means I stopped breathing 70 times. I think it's an hour, 70 times. And they wouldn't even let me complete my sleep apnea test. They woke me up after an hour and says it's not safe for you to sleep. And I was like, what? I do this every night, like they came in, it was supposed to be a 2-night study. They woke me up after an hour, put a mask on. I don't think it's gone because I notice when I don't use my sleep apnea machine, I'm still tired. I think I still use it. I haven't been back tested. Um, so those are all of the things that are better. Now, the minute I eat something, even with a little bit of gluten in it, I know. Even if I don't know, this happened to me at Ketopalooza last year. I had something on that buffet at Ketopalooza 2024, and it doesn't hit me till 3 days later, right? But I hurt so bad in my joints. Multiple joints, my hips, everything that I was operated on hurts. And it's weird things like my hands will hurt, my wrists will hurt. I know when I've had something, and I can usually calculate back 2 or 3 days because it takes 2 or 3 days for the inflammation to flare up. So maybe I'm blessed in a way that I can't eat something that's like really too far on the sad spectrum. Now, I suspected that the cheese did this to me as well, but honestly, I don't feel the inflammation when I eat cheese. Um, I think Chandra has the bacon. She can't eat bacon.
What's pork
I
and
don't know that you have any foods. Do you have any like, I'm blessed. Cindy DeManch says she doesn't get any, she can go off plan and it doesn't affect her, which in a way, maybe I'm kinda glad I have this because it does keep me strict because I hate that feeling of not being able to walk up and down my stairs without having pain. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if I go off plan and I'm eating things bad enough, then I'll have inflammation and I'll have some negative impact. And I mean, we've learned over the years what truly impacts us, what really doesn't. Like we can go out for sushi and we're usually fine. We can go out for Thai food and we're usually fine. Usually, things that are very rice heavy don't bother us. But I mean, like wheat and stuff like that. If we end up having lots of pizza or whatever, then we'll probably be more inclined, like pasta, that kind of stuff will typically impact us more. You know, highly processed sweets and things like that will impact us. And like I said, the last I don't know how long, since our boys moved in, and and I've made jokes about this before, but they're like 10-year-olds who won the lottery. They come in with, candy and ice cream and just they eat fast food every night, and like it's difficult to navigate that. And then now with the other kids living here and they're trying to cook better, but it's still there's crackers and there's cakes and cupcakes and things in the house. And I think and they say, well, we can't afford to go keto, and I'm like, but you're spending money on all this stuff you don't need. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah. That's hard. That's hard. And my husband is keto, right?
right.
But even he's not carnivore. He will not go carnivore. I mean, and that's fine, Uh, so he does like the no sugar chocolates. He is a he is a he hope he doesn't watch this. I love you, Dennis, but uh
He's naked
he
behind you.
no, he's not. Which is why I have a screen here in case he walks in his office in his underwear, which has happened. Uh but um No, he's not in his underwear right now, folks. He's fully dressed, but I do live stream at night. So, but yeah, he still likes his what are those candy bars from that? They make chocolate chips too. They're used for keto baking.
What,
Uh
Lily's?
Lily's candy bars.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
even those have like 60 carbs in them if you eat the whole
Well,
thing.
no, they've also been bought out, and their ingredients have changed over the years too. So
Yeah, he does it. I mean, he's mostly keto, but
they
he still
they
has a
make me
these
so
sweet addiction.
gassy. Lily's chips like will make me like I won't have like running to the bathroom, but I'll just be just gassy for like 2 days. Just loud, just long, just gas. Yeah, it's gross.
Oh, Cass has another question. Do you see it?
Yeah. I'm working my way down here. I want to say thanks to Pope Metallicus for dropping by. Says Dustin just popped in and say, I love you, brother. Well, love you too, man. I'm glad to see you were here. Let's see. Darth Carnivore was here. He was walking his dog. Good to see you, Charlie. I miss you, my friend. Somebody had mentioned that today was the day we were supposed to get together for the indie meetup. Today is November the 8th, and that was the day we were supposed to get together, but life is what it is, and we weren't able to get together. There were too many people having plans to do things, and then Jaqueline wasn't able to be there, so we were just going to focus on the spring. Whew, and I want to see if I can catch in here the question that you have, because there was here's one
Tanya
question.
dropped a $20 super chat
I
too.
see that. I was going to get to that in just a second here. So Cassandra says, is this the one you were talking about? Are any of the bones need padding, especially as we age from falling too?
Mm-hmm.
I imagine. Yeah, I mean, I think as we start to get older, we start to eat less and less and less, and we see that in elderly, where they start to, everything becomes fair. I mean, I know inevitably it's probably going to happen regardless of what they eat, but they become very thin and brittle, and their thin becomes like crepe paper. Like you can sneeze and they'll bleed, and like, you know. And Bridesmaids said, if med professionals actually had nutritional knowledge, we wouldn't have to be terrified of dropping the C word around them. Like carnivore, keto. I remember that my general practitioner, and I've mentioned this before, was he told me, because we were talking about when I was in there in the process of getting my hernia surgery, and this was 2016 early. He was like, if you want to lose weight, you got to be in ketosis. But he never elaborated, didn't tell us what that was. He's basically low carb. We were like, oh yeah, we've been making, mashed potatoes out of cauliflower and all that. And then like a year later or whatever, I was back because my grandmother saw him as her primary care physician as well. And I was like, because he had gone I removed skin tags off of me and was doing all these things. I was just kind of going in for general maintenance. You know what I mean? I had gone to the doctor in so long, and I still don't. But going in and I was, 400 pounds. And then I go in and a couple, 2 years later, whatever, with my grandma, and I'm like, oh, I want to say thank you for mentioning ketosis to me. And I'm like, I've lost 100+ pounds. And he was just like, he looked at me kind of like he didn't know what to say. Also kind of like he didn't realize like that he had told me or whatever, because he was about ready to retire. He was kind of old, but yeah. Let's see. I don't know. There's another question that she has for you, Amy.
He
So
doesn't.
Cassandra,
Yep. Go ahead. Sorry.
that's okay. Oh, that's the same one. No, that's the same. Oh, it's just expounding on the last question that she had.
Uh,
Padding for joints, bones, falling risk as we get into our 70s and beyond. Yeah. And you were
Carnivore
talking about.
Helix. Carnivore Helix has a question too at 1:33 p.m.
I don't know if I see that one or not.
That's on my channel. Are you getting my channels?
I
Question?
should, maybe. I should. I mean, if everything's in here. Let's see. Because I don't see Carnivore Helix. It might show up as a different name on here, though. What does the question say?
Okay. The question says, sometimes I will even be allergic to meat that I had yesterday, but then I couldn't have it for a month. That happens with pork a lot. What could that be? And this is the same issue with Chandra. It sounds similar to what she experiences. So I don't know if you want to talk about that because
Yeah, for some reason I'm not showing. It's not popping up for me. But I would say when it comes to pork and having issues with different types of meat like that, especially things like pork, I wonder what they're feeding them and how that impacts the quality of the meat.
good point.
Because I would say if pork is bothering you, have you tried pasture raised pork where they've been kind of able to forage and not just fed whatever is left over from the neighbors next door or whatever, right? They're not feeding you the neighbors next door because they're trying to get rid of them.
That's a good point.
Yeah. I mean, I think we've been acclimated pretty well to beef, and I think beef is kind of regulated to a degree to where, and also beef being ruminant, they're processing their food in 4 different chambers, and I think that really has a control on how it goes into their body, I think. And so I think we have less impacts with beef for the most part, but I think with chicken and with pork, I don't have much issue with chicken. I can eat chicken, doesn't bother me, but pork, like we used to love pork roast, pork loin. You tie it up, you season it, you throw a bunch of onions in there and roast it till it's good and tender. But but it would just, I think there's a part of me also has a feeling that because you have to cook pork to like 185 degrees all the way done versus beef, where I can basically eat beef rare as I want. I think there's a difference in digestion between rare and overdone. Because I know that when we've cooked beef in a crock pot and it kind of self shreds because it's so cooked down, that I just feel like weighted down and heavy, and I don't feel like the same way if I'm eating like more rare beef. I don't know. Have you ever
Right.
had that experience?
Me, I don't know. I'm still figuring things out as far as the meat goes, right? I do know I am not, this goes back to the hunger thing. I do not feel as full when I eat pork or chicken. Uh, I feel better, I feel better when I eat beef, right? But
Beef is more
my
satiating for
pocket
sure.
my pocketbook doesn't.
Yeah.
And even some of the beef that I'm buying because of cost. Like, I'm going to Costco and I'm getting the big bag of the ground beef patties, but I'm not getting the grass-fed ones. I'm getting the ones that are you get more for the $30, because we can't all afford pasture raised, grass-fed to the finish beef. I can't.
Yeah. I mean, I buy the yellow or the red bag of Walmart frozen patties.
Mm,
I just do. And I mean, I know and we've forever eaten the big tubes of Walmart meat.
yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I will continue. I don't know, but I know for me, just getting the cheapest ground beef is how we've lived, and we've been fine. But I mean, I can't
Mhm.
afford, if Costco ground beef or the Costco frozen patties aren't on sale, I do not buy them. because I know
I
they're a good
like the taste
quality.
of them.
And I've got some in my freezer, and I don't mind the taste, but I like the Walmart ones better. I'm just a cheap. I'm a cheap date.
Well, and see, I've been buying Kroger ones because Kroger has them on
Do
sale.
not like Kroger at all. Kroger ground beef tastes
So
awful.
I don't like them, and I really like the taste of the Costco ones. So I might just have to bite the bullet and just spend the extra money and just get a tube or get a, the frozen, get a package of those because I do like the taste better. They're a little more expensive, but sometimes if you're not going to enjoy something either, you know, and they're $5 more, I mean, I feel like I can afford $5 whatever. I don't even know. But I don't like the Kroger ones, but I've been buying them and forcing us to eat them. And my husband's like, "Can we just have real ground beef?" Is what he says.
Now,
So
have you ever bought Costco's actual ground beef? Because you can
yes.
ask, you can knock on the window, and they'll give you like the 10-pound tube,
Hmm. Oh, really?
and it's
I
usually 10
have.
cents, and it's 10 cents a pound cheaper than buying the big tray.
Yeah, I should do that. So what
I
I
think
was
it's a
doing for a
90-10
while,
though. It's a very low fat.
what I was doing is I was going to Gordon's Food Service because they would have 2.99 a pound sales
Oh yeah. If they're
every
on
week.
sale from Gordon's, I'll definitely do that if I can help it.
But lately, it hasn't been cheaper than like 4.99 a pound.
No.
So I haven't been going there. But I would look every week to see if they had ground beef tubes on sale for 2.99 a pound, and I would go scarf them up. But they haven't been doing that because of the prices. So, and I have so much ground beef in my deep freezer that I need to use up some of what I have before I go out and buy some more. So I haven't been buying ground beef because I've been eating a lot of the frozen hamburger patties instead rather than make burgers. But my husband's been asking me to make the burger patties because they do taste better when you make them yourself. I don't know,
I'm just
they
the
just
frozen.
do.
Like I've got too much to do. Like the frozen patties really work well for me. Like our routine in the morning. We get up, we get the girl ready to go to school. We make her breakfast, pack her lunch, drive her to school, drop her off on our way back. As soon as we get home, I make our coffee. I make Chandler 4 eggs, and then we sit and we watch a little bit of TV together. We do that in the morning, usually more than we do at night. Take our time together during the week, and we have our coffee in the morning together, and then we kind of break, and I go do whatever I need to do. She does whatever she needs to do, whether I need to run to the grocery, do schoolwork, do YouTube stuff, whatever I need to do, and then we just kind of go about our day. But I mean, I don't want to spend a lot of time cooking food. I would rather I can throw in a package of hot dogs in the air fryer, throw four, four patties into the cast iron, cook those up, throw those into a bowl, put some mustard, maybe a little bit of relish on there, and then I eat that, and I'm good to go. And if I can do that on a daily basis, I am so much better because the satiety that I do get from the hamburger or the beef in general is so much better than
Me
anything
too.
else. But I mean, what we've been buying chicken because chicken thighs and everything they're so much cheaper. But I can sit there and eat like twice as much chicken than I can beef, and then I get tired of eating, but I'm not necessarily satiated. But I do want to just sit here and say thank you so much to Tanya, and because we're getting down here, and I don't want to be too long on this, but thank you so much for the $20 super chat. This really does help me more than you know. Keeps the channel running. It does help me with all the things that it takes to run a channel, all the things that I have to pay for. So this really does help me keep everything up and moving. And thank you so much. We really appreciate you and the kind words. And she says, thank you, Dustin and Amy. This is actually so healing for me, or helpful for me. And I truly, truly appreciate that so very much.
And Tanya sent me a couple buy me a coffees this week too. So thank you too from
Oh,
my
thank
side.
you so much.
She's awesome.
And let's see. I want to say hello to Rebecca is here. Rebecca from South Africa is here. Just not sure why my handle is showing my name, Rebecca. But thank you for being here. And I want to see Bride's Biscuits and A Mason is here. Yeah, A Mason says I'm including more chicken. I think we have to. We can't. I mean, we just can't afford to eat just beef. I would be fine eating just like ribeye, burgers, and like New York strips. And when like sirloin steaks were really cheap, I would buy those and just add fat. But they were too expensive.
They are. I would probably be lion diet if it wasn't for the cost of everything, honestly,
Oh,
with
I
how
imagine it'd probably be
sensitive I am
cheaper in
to
the long
everything.
run, but and so TPE 690 says on average, how long do you get or stay in ketosis in a month? And do you get the ketosis flu the longer you're in ketosis? So here's the deal let me tackle the keto flu issue first. Keto flu is a thing that sort of happens in the very early stages of being in ketosis, which usually happens within the first couple of weeks of being consistent with low carb, ketogenic way of life, carnivore way of life. You are going to start to have your kidneys open up and they're going to release a lot of the sodium that they've been maybe holding on to if you're on a high carb diet. So then your body is going to kind of push out all this extra electrolytes and things. Your body's going to start to like be a little low on electrolytes. So you want to make sure you're adding back in sodium, magnesium, potassium. So, find a decent, you know, supplement. I recommend Salty. Salty is an amazing brand, an amazing company. You can find them at KetoSimple.shop and save 10%. But you can use whichever brand you choose. It's sugar free. They are not all equal. They are not all the same. They do not all have the same amounts of electrolytes in them. So be mindful and they don't always even make it easy for you to know what's in them. That's why I do like Salty, because you're getting at least around about 1,000 milligrams of sodium. I have a bag here, so I'll just read it to you. So I've got the grape Salty here. So it's got 969 milligrams of sodium, 409 milligrams of potassium, and 178 milligrams of magnesium. So, like, they make it really easy for you to know exactly what's in each packet. They put it right on the front of the package. Most of the companies do not do that. Element will do that. Element's also a company that will put their recipes on their website. So you don't necessarily have to go with Salty. There's companies like Element. You can make your own. You can buy them all on Amazon. You can check and buy them. I don't have a list necessarily in my Amazon thing, but if you buy them through my Amazon, that helps me out as well. But yeah, so just making sure you have enough electrolytes in your system will help mitigate that keto flu. And really, as long as you keep your electrolytes up, you're going to feel fine. Start to feel foggy, lightheaded, kind of drowsy where you don't normally. You're kind of good little telltale signs that you are low on electrolytes. And ketosis, I would say, really, I think I would say that the average person's probably in ketosis more often than they're not. If you're living a ketogenic carnivore lifestyle, proper human diet spectrum, you're probably in ketosis more than you're not. But I would say focusing and being overly concerned about being kicked out of ketosis is not something that I would necessarily worry about. If you're somebody who's, like checking your blood glucose and checking your ketones and all these things, you may get scared about that. And I would say that's something that I wouldn't necessarily worry about. But maybe a long-winded answer. But I would say once you're in ketosis, you're going to start to know and recognize the telltale signs of what it feels like to be in ketosis. Most people are going to find that they have, their brain fog lifts. They have more energy. They just feel overall better. I don't know if there's anything that you want to add to that, Amy.
When I first started keto 8 years ago, I did it all wrong. As I already mentioned, I was doing low fat. I felt horrible for 2 weeks. I call it my homicidal 2-week period. A lot of people drop out in that 2-week period and don't continue. Push through it. It gets better. I wasn't taking electrolytes, which I should have because I didn't know when I first started. So Dustin's 1,000% correct. Make sure If you're going to start this lifestyle, get some electrolytes. And I agree, Salty is the brand that I use. I highly recommend them. It will get better. It will get better within a couple weeks, I promise. Those of us who've been doing this going on, and you've been doing it just as long as me or longer, Dustin, right? Like 7, 8 years, 9 years, probably even.
We
Uh,
started in 2016.
yeah. So Dustin's going on 10 years of doing this. We wouldn't be able to sustain this 10 years if we felt like we did if we had keto flu. I wouldn't. I just knew to trust the process. And the other thing is when I flipped over from keto to carnivore, I had 0 keto flu symptoms. Like
I
0.
remember, I remember when I was first getting into this, we didn't know about the electrolyte correlation with the keto flu. At least I didn't. I'm sure somebody did, but I was not fully aware. And I remember I was at work, and the keto flu would really just hit me hard. And I had a like a full sugar regular old Rockstar in my cabinet in my drawer at work, and I was like thinking, oh, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I can't. I was like, the keto flu was like really bad. And so I remember drinking that. And I was like, I need to do, and I felt initially better. Yeah, I felt better, but then I didn't have it again. I didn't have it again, so I didn't have the keto flu that bad again. So I wouldn't recommend drinking a full sugar Rockstar. But I mean, that I did that out of what I thought was for me was desperation because I didn't have the information that's out there now. I mean, we didn't have. I mean, we've already gone through kind of a keto revolution where we had, unlimited different products in the grocery store, and now those are all starting to disappear. So we've already kind of got that big, huge curve, and now we're coming back down again. And, with the information that's out there, I mean, even the information that I had early on has changed because ketogenic was always very, moderate protein, high fat. And now we know that it's not so bad to have more protein as long as you're kind of accompanying it with extra fat. You're going to have more of a like a glucose impact. Some people will see more of a glucose impact from eating leaner meats. So yeah, I don't know. I hope that helps. I know you're just starting out, and it's overwhelming. But my advice, if you would call it advice, which is not really advice, is just keep it as simple as humanly possible. Keep it as simple as you can. I know my name is Keto Simple here, but I mean that really goes a long way because I know for me, if I had made it more complicated, I wouldn't still be doing it. So like, just frozen meat, like frozen vegetables. I mean, frozen burger patties, make frozen vegetables if you want vegetables. If you don't want vegetables, don't eat vegetables. Just do what you can to maintain as low a carb as possible. Don't go with breaded meats. Don't go with any of that stuff. Just go with burger patties. Bone in, skin on chicken thighs. Cook those in lard. I know somebody had asked, and I don't remember where that is. Is like I think somebody was asking about heart attack chicken. I mean, most of the time our chicken is cooked in lard tallow. There's plenty of extra fat in our chicken, so you're going to get plenty of extra fat on the side. But just make sure you're just eating to satiety, especially when you're very first starting out. Eat as low carb as you possibly can, as much as you can to keep you away from the foods that you may want to have. Don't worry about calories. Don't worry about macros. Just eat. And then you'll slowly start to back off, and then you can start to dial things in as you go. I think that's about as easy a plan as anybody can do. Just eat. And maybe, yeah. And make sure, don't forget the electrolytes.
Mhm. Agreed. Very well said.
Yeah, because the skeptic tank says, don't let perfect be the enemy of the good. I
Yeah.
think sometimes
Yeah, that's great.
we lose sight of that so often in this community where people kind of come out like, well, if it's not perfection, you're not doing it right. We're trying to get the masses here. The masses, well, I mean, none of us are perfect, but I mean, for sure, the masses are not perfect. Here's a question. Well, yeah, here's that question. Would heart attack chicken help with satiety? Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, add fat, add some butter, do whatever. I mean, make sure you're still getting beef. I mean, if you can tolerate beef, some people can't tolerate beef. You're right. If it's too cheap to resist, yeah. And Cassandaria,
Yep.
I hope I'm pronouncing that right. She hasn't said that I'm an idiot yet, so I'm guessing I'm saying it right. Because it used to say it in her name, and it's changed. But I've seen eating more eggs, less meat to save money. That's crazy that even expensive eggs. But I think she has chickens. But yeah. And Bry's Biscuit says, when I don't feel satiated eating something, I just remember the lifelong constant that I learned that if it is, that is if it's use. Let me see if I can read that better here. I'm having a little issue with my reading skills here. When I don't feel satiated eating something, just remember the lifelong constant that I learned. That is, if you sit and digest for a minute, hormones usually kick in and let you know you're good. Yes. I gotta slow down and let my brain just kind of go, ooh. Yeah, and Thomas says he needs to add more chicken and pork. I mean, pork is such a good price right now. Like, I mean, you can get like $2 a pound at Costco and just get giant pork loins, like 15-pound pork loins or whatever. Like, just so much meat. But I mean, because you have to cook it till like it's dead a second time. Now, how much is beef liver? I know you can't eat pounds of it, but I don't know how much it is. I haven't really ever looked at it. Here's a question. Is there an excuse to not eat meat when you have a crock pot in the fall? I would say, I mean, my excuse is when it starts to get cold, I want to have like cheddar broccoli soup.
I want chili. And
Well, I make chili,
so
yeah.
for all the carnivore police out there, I'm probably gonna make some chili with some chili powder. I used to put some zucchini in there as filler, but I may leave the zucchini out and just make it all meat chili. But so if you see me making chili and posting chili and you're like, spice alert, whatever. But I think I could probably handle chili.
I have found, and I gotta go look it up. I gotta go and find it at the store and then show pictures of it. I don't know the name of it, but it's like this. This chili powder packets, and one packet goes a long way. And it's like, I think it's 6 servings in a packet, 2 grams of carbs per serving. And you know how most packets are not that low. Now this has like a little bit of rice concentrate in it and stuff. It's like chili powder
Yeah.
and all that. I'm like, I looked at the carb count and I looked at the ingredient and I'm like, this is not that big of a deal for me. And I mean, this is one of the things you have to look at and understand for yourself. Like, okay, a little bit of rice concentrate, one of the last ingredients on here. And I'm like, okay, it's got garlic oil. And I'm like, okay. And does that, it's going to go into a giant pot of chili. I know this chili pot is putting 6 servings of chili powder. The chili packet is 6 servings. I know this pot of chili is much more than 6 servings of chili. I know I'm going to eat way more than 6 giant bowls of this, and my bowls are big bowls. So I'm not too worried about that in the grand scheme of things. And I'm not worried about the carbs and jalapenos and peppers and chilies and some tomatoes. And I'm not worried about that. Again, tomatoes a whole food, chili's a whole food, meat's a whole food, onions a whole food. I mean, realistically, most of those spices are a whole food. They're just grounded into a powder. I'm not worried about chili. I'm not worried about soups like that if you make them on your own. I'm not worried about the carbs in that. Is it probably more than I should have on a regular basis? Yeah, but I'm not super concerned with the carbs in a soup that I make myself. And, you talk about the spices and the carnivore police. And I think it's appropriate when somebody asks you. But if you post, and granted, we are front facing people with channels and we are posting what we look at as appropriate, and what we look at is what we eat, and all these, these things. It's one of those things. Okay, and so we are sort of asking for people's opinions, and I understand. But people out there, I would just hope they would understand that, like, you don't want to be nitpicked. You don't want to be the person that's getting the brunt of the keto police. You're not perfect. You don't. Everybody has skeletons in their closet. So just relax, guy. Relax.
Like that in the beginning. I was the police in the beginning.
I
I
was
you know,
too.
I was jumping on people, "That's not keto. That's Frankenfood. That's not ke," and it's like after a while, I'm like, "Oh, maybe that's the best that they can do right now,
Yeah.
with this whatever." If someone asks, I'll point out, yeah, so the keto bread. If someone asks, I will point out the keto products at the store, flip the package over, send me the ingredients, and I'll circle the things that I think that are not the best. But no, I don't jump into other people's lives or Facebook pages or even my own Facebook page and go after people about, "You can't eat that. That's not keto, carnivore, whatever." No.
Jimtown Steve is in the house. I want to say hello. He's just been waiting 5 minutes to say hello. That was about 10 minutes ago. Let's see. I'm not sure. I can't believe people drink those. I'm not sure what we were talking about. I love energy drinks. I drink them
Oh,
all.
when you went back when you had the keto flu and you were looking at the full sugar
Yeah,
energy
yeah,
drink. That's
yeah,
what he was
yeah.
talking about.
I drank a bunch of those back in the day. I drink those all the time, and I mean, I still have energy drinks, but thankfully now almost all of them are. I would say most brands nowadays are zero sugar. I mean, Monster still puts out full sugar, and Rockstar still puts out full sugar, but I think almost every other brand. I think Red Bull has full sugar ones, but like Ghost and um, all the like C4 and all those brands, their majority are sugar free. So I think that's very beneficial. Should I have that much caffeine? Probably not. But I mean, I do what I got to do. And I want to say hello to Grandma. I know Carnivore Crochet was in the house. I know I saw her say hello, but I didn't. I don't see her comment now. And Charger Rick is in the house. Everyone loves Rick. No, wrong one. I don't have it set up with him in here. I have it on my Sunday morning live, not this live. And the soundboards are different. Just pretend that said Rick in a duck quacking voice. How professional am I? Let's see. I'm just trying to go through here. And while I'm looking at these comments, is there anything else you wanted to talk about, Amy? Anything else on your
I
mind?
No, I think we've covered it. Maybe we should do this again after the holidays and talk about like the PhD thoughts, reflections. I don't know.
Yeah.
After we get through the course, maybe.
Yeah, you kind of answered this in the chat though, but she's asking about Q&A.
I
We
did.
have iodine drops, but I forget to use them. I just bought another 3-pack of the Lugol's iodine, but I forget to use them because they go in the cabinet, and I've got my coffee down to a science. I got my coffee down exactly how I make my coffee every day, and then I just forget to reach up and grab the iodine. And I honestly don't have much of a feeling of difference, but I take the iodine versus not. So that's another thing. So yeah.
I don't either. One of the main reasons I don't feel any different when I take it, but just so breast cancer runs in my family, right? Breast
Right.
cancer. My sister had it. I've had 2 first cousins that have had it. I believe my grandma died from it, but by the time they found the cancer, it was spread throughout her whole body. So for me, I have heard on some of the doctors' channels, again, we're not doctors or medical professionals here, but I have heard that the breast needs iodine to protect it from cancer.
Mhm.
Um, So I'm not going to stop taking it just because I don't feel better. I'm going to continue to take it because of that alone, which is what I've heard in this, keto carnivore community. And I could probably find the exact, I think Dr. Barry interviewed, I forget who the person was that talks about the iodine, and he said that. And I was like, okay, I'm sold. It's probably not going to kill me to take this, so I'm going to take it, if it helps prevent that.
Bridesmaid says, "Ha, my wife is 5'0" in heels. She eats more than me. I have more energy though." That's crazy. Tiny.
Brownstein. Yes. Thank you, Charlie. Dr. Barry interviewed Dr. Brownstein.
Okay. Yeah, he's on your side. I don't see that at all. So he must be on your side.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, it's not popping up over here for me.
Huh. Interesting.
I know. I think it might just be because like I'm not going into your. Yeah, we did set it up with your YouTube, right?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. So it should be, but it's not showing up for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah.
Brian is here. Brian Doyle, my friend Brian Doyle's here, and J Garth, I'm not sure how that's pronounced. Mountain Dew Kickstart needs to go 0 sugar. Yeah, so there is a Rockstar. Rockstar has a 0 sugar fruit punch that's easy to find at most grocery stores. That's actually it's a relatively good flavor. Yeah, I remember I was buying the Kickstarts at one point, but at the time when I was buying them, I was upset that they weren't full sugar. I was like, because I went a long time. So maybe we can talk about this a little bit. When I went keto first, I didn't drink diet soda probably till about 2018. From 2016 to 2018, I didn't like diet soda. I didn't like the diet soda flavor. And then it had gone so long that there's the keto plate. You still need to come down and have lunch with me sometime at Rockstar Pizza.
Yes.
Telling you.
Yes.
And I don't know if you've heard, but there's going to be if you do come down and you come down by way of 65, there's going to be a Buc-ee's just north of Indy on 65, and there's going to be one just south of Indy on 65 as well. They don't have the north side one solidified yet. They're looking at somewhere between Whitestown and Lebanon, somewhere in that neighborhood. Maybe, I would probably say if they put it just a little past Lebanon, it might be better off. And I think they're looking at a Greenwood exit on the south side, which I'm kind of like, I'm cool with that, but at the same time, like, it's one of those, like, I'm going on vacation, I'm going to pass a Buc-ee's. I don't want one nearby all the time. That's like next year we should see the first Midwestern In-N-Out burger, because they're going to open.
I love In-N-Out.
They've already got, I think they've already started construction of the Nashville In-N-Out burger restaurant. So that should open up next year. And
Cool.
So I'm excited. I'll definitely take a little trip down there and hopefully see my friends Ash and Chris while I'm down there. And yeah. And let's see.
We have a question from Carnivore Helix. I typed it out on your side.
Okay, so yeah, and then there was like, eat to your DNA or eat to your whatever. Like, there's like different, like you can eat to your blood type, like how should you eat if you an A positive,
I never bought
A
into
negative,
that.
O negative, O positive, AB negative.
I never bought into that.
I imagine there probably is something to that. I mean, there probably is something to it, because why would we have different blood types? But I don't think it's one. I mean, that's like people think, like I've been seeing a lot of, and I know that I had made a video about this because I had asked Dr. Barry when he had Amanda Decker on. They were doing a Q&A a couple of months ago about parasites, because I keep seeing this content out there like, I had parasites and they dewormed me and I cured my cancer, and I'm like, and not to get into like the political side of that, but like the idea that it's parasites causing cancer, and I can't say as a non-medical professional that that's complete hogwash, but I can't say at the same time, like, I can't say, because there is something to there's something to holistic medicine. There is something to the fact that we may have parasites we're not aware of, but the fact that we are in a first world society, the chances of us actually having parasites bad enough to cause that is slim. I know there are countries out there where people have, like, you've seen them where you can see them floating through their eye and they're like inside their eye. And no. Mm-mm.
Remember when you brought that up on Dr. Barry's channel?
Yeah. That's what I was talking about. Yeah, and they were like, and I mean, luckily he understood that I was just asking and not like being. I was asking for a generalized thing and not because I thought that.
That was so
But
funny. He lost it though.
oh yeah, they
He
were talking
went
about.
off. It was you have a clip of that. I know it's on there. Everybody
Yeah,
like try to find the clip. I think Dustin
let me
uploaded it
see.
on his channel. It's hilarious.
Let me see if I may have it here. Let's see. No, that's not going to be what I need. I don't
While
know if
you're
I
looking for
deleted.
that, I'm
I don't know if I deleted it from here or not. I may have deleted it off of here. Let's see. Yeah, I think it took up a lot of space and I deleted it off of here. I didn't think I was going to show it again. But yeah.
that's hilarious. That was so funny. I was watching that one live. I was watching it live and I died because he knew
Yeah.
you were he knows who you are. He knows you. And he did know that was just like but he still lost it and went off and went on a rant. It was hilarious.
But I mean, that's kind of the funny thing about it. Is like, yeah, I think he knows who I am to a degree, but not necessarily like we don't call each other up and talk. You know what I mean? He doesn't confide me, but I mean, like when last time I met him in person was earlier this year, and I'm like, oh, I'm Dustin. He goes, I know. I'm like, but do you though? I don't know. You know.
I think they
But
remember people because I was in our PhD class and we were talking about social media. And, I've been doing the Carnivore Avengers, whatever. And so, like, I brought that kind of came up. I'm like, well, I'm doing fun stuff that's on my channel that I don't want to have it being seen as unprofessional. And Nisha chuckled and she goes, I know, I've seen them. And she smirked. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, Nisha's been watching my video.
well, I mean, they probably come up like, yeah.
I don't think anybody gets pushed my content. I don't really care. Like, I don't care about that. I don't want to be a YouTube star, I mean, I'm more here to be with the community and hang out with people. And if I could help one person, that's great. Now, this other thing that I'm doing is kind of entertainment purposes and people are enjoying it. So as long as people are enjoying it and they want it, I'm going to do it. As long as
I
I have
would
time.
like for my videos to get millions of views, not necessarily for my own gain. Obviously, that would be an income stream that would be very nice to have millions of views on my videos. But my shorts to get millions of views, my videos to get millions of views. But I would like my lives to stay relatively similar to where they are now.
Yeah.
I
It's
like,
too hard when you're too big.
yeah,
You
when
can't.
things go by so fast, then I feel that it's harder to have a good community than, like, because I see all the time people in Dr. Barry's like, you say you're going to answer questions, but you're only doing the super chats. There's 5,000 people watching, a few thousand people asking questions. Of course, it's like, and there's super chats. Of course, you're going to see the super chats.
That. So the people who are doing it, I mean, they have to understand, and he can't even get through all the super chats half the time.
No, yeah, I've done super chats he didn't even get to before.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Yeah, so I mean, people got to have some grace for that kind of stuff.
Let's see. Brian says, I stopped watching lives. It's not, there we go. I stopped watching lives
Yep.
because of that too big and the same thing over and over. I still think that there's a reason to Dr. Barry, regardless of how big he becomes, there's a lot of repetitiveness to it because a lot of us have the same issues.
Uh-huh.
But also you're going to still see people who go on there and they share their accomplishments. I think that's huge. And I think there are people who have, genuine questions that are going to help people. I think, I don't watch every week of Dr. Barry. There's no way. I don't have time to watch everybody. I don't have time to watch. I don't have time to watch every Sunday that you do. I don't have time to sit. If I could, I would sit and watch and talk with Barbara every night for 4 hours or whatever, and go on Rick's channel and talk with Rick for his 6 hours on his live. And if I had the time, I would do that. I barely have time to do the lives that I have and watch little bits and pieces of the lives that I watch and still try to get schoolwork done and do, I've got a granddaughter right now. She's like, are you going to play with me today? And I'm like, I've got a live first. She goes, then you're going to get tucked up in your blankie. And I'm like, guilty. I was like, we can watch a movie. She's like, I want you to play with me. And I'm like, okay. I've got to go to Goodwill and drop off a headboard and go back to Goodwill and drop off a big table. We don't have room for it. It's a big table and I can't fit both in my truck. So I got to make 2 trips to Goodwill, and then I've got to cut apart some beef and freeze some of it and find room for that. And I got to get into my freezer and pull out stuff to get to my brother that we're not going to use. And I'm not going to get to all of that. And I've got to do laundry and I've got dishes to do. And I'm like, there's never enough time for all of it.
You're stressing me out this time.
I just do one thing at a time. And and I'll just look, I did this, this, and this, and I didn't get to this, and we can do that tomorrow. And the only reason Chandra's upset about because right now the table and the headboard are sitting on our front lawn, down by the trash where the trash goes, because the trash companies won't take it. And I'm like, well, they're sitting there. She's like, I just don't want to get a letter. And I'm like, the HOA is going to send us a letter or whatever. I'm like, yeah, I hear you.
That's
Dan,
kind of
shut
funny.
up, Dan.
Sorry.
I'm not talking about this Dan, but our HOA guy's name is Dan, not this Dan. This Dan's awesome.
Aw.
This Dan's a party. Look at that.
I wish I had one of those.
I've got
I
all
need a
kinds
Dan.
of stuff here. I've got stuffies and turtles, and I got Ninja Turtles. I've got He-Man. Look how cool this is.
Oh, hey, I got something. I have
Oh,
Wonder
yeah.
Woman. Someone gave that to me, and Minions.
I love
I
it.
have Minions, but they're not on camera.
And I've got my little Papa Emeritus here that my son got from me. Papa Emeritus.
I have a screaming goat too, but I don't know where he went. Do you know what those little screaming goat things are?
Is it a
I
booby
think Chris
goat?
Bear has one.
Oh,
It's
yeah?
a goat. I think it fell down under my desk. I'll have to get that out in my live stream tomorrow. I have something else too. You'll like this. I have this little, it's poop. I got this from my boss.
Nice. I also did want to showcase this. I want to make sure people were aware of what's going on. We've got Peppermint Keto Chow is back in stock after 2 years. So go to my KetoSimple.shop and buy Peppermint Keto Chow as well as gingerbread. And there is, while supplies last, there is, if I can reach it, there is a salty, which we talked about salty a little earlier. And this is a test. And my understanding is this is peach. A peach flavor.
Have you tried it yet?
I have not tried it yet. But it's this is a test, and you can scan the QR code and tell them what you think. This is a possible flavor they may manufacture. So, yeah. Rick, you're scary. Keto chow is delicious. I mean, you probably wouldn't like it. It's kind of like just a like chocolate milk shake thing. I don't know. Diana Watson is here. Welcome, welcome. She says, have I missed the whole talk today? I got busy and couldn't get on earlier. Well, we are about to wrap this up for the day, but I appreciate you stopping by. If you are so inclined, listen to the replay. It'll be up right away. And yeah, not Ovaltine. And we don't have a decoder ring, even though that is something that I'm surprised that Chris Bear hasn't come out with, a Keto Chow decoder ring. Drink your Keto Chow. Anyway, little orphan Annie. Anyway, I think with that, I think we'll say goodbye. Do you want to tell everybody where they can find you?
Yes. The main thing that I do is the YouTube channel, which is at Keto Rockstars, which is also my name when in the chat. And I do have stuff on Instagram, Rockin Coach Amy, TikTok, just because I'm trying to get out on all the platforms. I am not really on, what's the other one you do? X? I'm not on X. Maybe I should be. Maybe
I'm
we
on
should talk
every
about that
single
sometime.
one, basically.
Yeah. And
I
so,
don't
but the big thing,
participate, but I'm there.
the big thing I put content on is YouTube. So I also have a Facebook group called Keto Rockstars, which was the original Keto Rockstars. I was on Facebook before YouTube. So you can also join that if you want to post things and chat and participate there. It's just a support group. But thank you. I would just want to thank Dustin so much for having me on. You're like one of the first people I met in this community. I consider you like kind of a bestie, uh, in this space. And I want to thank everybody who's been watching on both channels. Thank you all, for spending time with us today. And let's do it again sometime.
Absolutely. Thank you all so much for being here, Amy. You were a pleasure to have. I'm glad to know you. We do chat quite regularly in our like messages and such, and I'm glad that you came on here with me today. And for anybody who wants to support her, go find her stuff. Go check her out. Subscribe. Do the super chats if you can. You're half monetized by now or no? Well,
I'm not
subscribe
even
and get
half
stuff there.
monetized, but honestly, like I don't care about that. I care more about the people in the community than whether people have been sending me buy me a coffees. And from what I understand, the monetization with YouTube, am I going to get like in trouble for saying this, is like not great anyway. So it doesn't really matter. It's more about growing the community, being there for everybody, having a space for everybody to come into. So I really don't care about that. I'm close to 500, but really the only thing I think I can do with that is super chats and a membership. And I'm probably going to have other things in the works after the first of the year with the coaching anyway, where people can come into a separate community off of YouTube if they want, that kind of support. So YouTube is just a storefront, it's not even the right word, like a place for people to come and, be a community. Community is a better word, I think. So I'm not really worried about being monetized. That's not my thing.
Well, just understand for anybody that this stuff does cost us money. Laptops cost money, internet costs money, whatever it does, and that your support does impact how well we're able to. I mean, our ability to keep this going, and we appreciate everything you do, whether it's a buy me a coffee or visiting our links, buying things from us directly, because that all helps us regardless. And I know that's not what we're here for. We are here for community, but it costs money to do that. So just keep that in mind, and we love each and every one of you. And if you want to hang around until the end, and you and I can talk a little bit more, but we're going to go ahead and end the stream. Thank you all so much for being here. You mean
Thank you, everybody.
to me and to her, and all of this is amazing, and I'm so very thankful and blessed. And thank you all so much. But here comes the outro, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.